Today we are going to discuss about the list in Python. For example, usually if you just refer my old videos, you could have to see that when we define a parameters like for example voltage is 60, current, like we define each and every variable, so parameters as individual. But for example, if you have to include all the parameters, for example, I have to list all the equipments in my house. I have like a plate, fork, and sofa, TV. Like if I want to, if somebody asks that, okay, can you list each parameter, it's quite it's not that much pleasant if you just define each and every parameters or the variable separately in Python. That's why we are trying to find out how to use the parameter, the list as a save that one in a variable. So that's the one we are going to do today. Let us start with Python and list. So for that, I define a parameters like these as a string. We start with the string today. Parameters, usually I use the small letter for the better. Parameters. So for example, here what I use that I'm using some of the parameters in the mechanical system for the better understanding. So I am I have a temperature within the system, and I put the comma, and again maybe I have speed. I just use the more space, speed, and one more, maybe I will say torque. Perfect. So we can, then the next thing is how we can define or how we can print this one. For that one, print parameters, then we use the square bracket, then put the 0. So this is the way we usually use. For example, the index start from 0, 1, 2. So 0 is temperature, 1 is speed, and 2 is torque. For example, if I print this one, it says temperature. That means the 0th position is temperature, and if I just change the 1, then I will get speed, and instead of 1, if I go for a 2, then what I will get that torque. So instead of that one, if I go for -1, then what I gonna get? That's so interesting that if I go -1, it start from torque. Then if I just use -2, it's like it's coming from the very final word to the back. So this is the one we can use. And some of the parameter, because in the list we can extend or append or find, there are quite a lot. So if you reach that one in the program, we can see that one, or ask Python or a stock flow, or if you have anything you can comment, I can provide that link to how to add more. But here I would like to use only two of them. So one is append and other one is extend. So even though we have many, but we just use the append and extend to get a better understanding. So parameters dot, if want to append means I want like an add one of the element in it. For example, if I want to add, then I just okay, what I want to add, that temperature, speed, pressure. So I want to add pressure in this list. Then okay, then I'm going to print parameters one more time. Yeah, print parameters. So here we can see the parameters dot append, and so here basically what I append, that I just append a pressure. So one of the error what I can see that especially these kind of error quite common when you are typing the program. So for example, you see there is error because this should be in the same line, and if you do the parameter, if you move this different line also causing some issue. So what we can do that check what the name. So just go to the error and read name error name parameters is not defined. So the parameter is not defined, and where is the issue? Because parameters dot append dot pressure, and that module is not defined. That's one of the things we are um, saying here. So basically we can see that I miss my e sign over here. That's why. So this is the way we find that where is the issue. We can see here, then we can print. So as I come back in the beginning, so we can run this one. So see, speed was like 0 was temperature, 1 was speed. That was this print display. Then after I append pressure at the last, so you can see temperature, speed, torque, and I add the pressure in it. That's the function called append. And one more function we gonna discuss in this one is extend parameters. So now we know that append, where we use that just want to add a one value in the list. But here if you want a couple of values in the list, then we use the append. And square bracket I open, and I would say temperature 1, and I would add temperature 2. So along with the pressure and temperature, I add temperature 1 and 2. Then I use print parameters, just display that one. So as usual, you can see that speed. Then the second one we add 1 is called pressure, and in the final we call add the T1 and T2. So we get a T1 and T2. So this is the way we define the list of parameters, and then we can append, extend, or remove, or delete. There are plenty and plenty of options are here when we are learning kind of Python kind of program. This is like an open book exam. You can just find this. You don't need to buy hard this one. Just go to the Ask Python or the library and find that what are the functions we can do it. Then we include that one and to practice. Then whenever we are in requirement, then we just like call that one and do add. Thank you.